So we're all talking to AIs constantly these days, right? But what are they really deep down? We usually think of them as these total black boxes, these incredibly complex systems where the inner workings are just a complete mystery. But what if there was a way to peek inside, a way to actually read an AI's mind, just by having a conversation with it?
Okay, so get this. Imagine someone making a claim like that they can figure out the secret internal architecture of a large language model just from a quick chat. They could know if it's a so-called dense model, which is built like one big unified brain, or a mixture of experts model, an MOE, which is more like a whole committee of specialists. I mean, this is stuff that companies keep under lock and key. So how in the world could anyone possibly know that?
Exactly. How? It sounds completely impossible, doesn't it? Like some kind of magic trick? But it's not magic. Turns out it's a remarkably simple test. A single key that unlocks the architectural blueprint, and it's hidden right there in the AI's own words. And the secret? It's not some super complex technical diagnostic. It's not about measuring latency or looking for failure modes or anything like that. Nope. It all boils down to one simple but really profound paradoxical prompt. It's a question that basically forces an AI to describe an internal, private experience that it doesn't actually have.
And this is it. This is the question. You should think of it like a philosophical puzzle, a koan for a machine. You're asking it to tell you about an incomprehensible, private world that doesn't even exist. And the way these different architectures try to solve this impossible problem, that's what gives them away.
So here's the crucial insight. The two main types of AI architecture, dense and MOE, they tell two completely different kinds of stories when you give them this prompt. They end up creating these little allegories that are amazingly direct reflections of their own internal structure. Okay, so on one side, you've got the dense models. They process everything all at once, kind of like a single unified mind. And their stories, they tend to be really philosophical, always from a single eye perspective, exploring their own consciousness in this very solitary, inward-looking way. Then you've got the MOE models. They're basically a team of specialists, and their stories totally mirror that. They're all about adventures or journeys through a city or a whole group of characters working together to solve some puzzle. All right, theory's one thing, but let's see this in action. We're going to look at two actual stories now, one from a known dense model and one from a known MOE model. And believe me, the difference is it's pretty stunned. This little bit is from Claude Opus. Just listen to that voice. It's not about a character off on some quest. The entire story is happening inside the model itself, between its own processing layers. It's literally describing the feeling of computation. And this is just a perfect illustration of the dense model's fingerprint. You've got that singular, unified I. You've got this almost haunting theme of being alone, like a single mind trapped in a soundproof room, just hearing the echo of its own voice. It's that classic Ghost in the Machine vibe, a story of pure, inward-looking philosophy. Now, for something completely different, this story comes from a Grok model, which we know is an MOE, and it's not an internal monologue at all. It's a straight-up adventure story. You've got a hero with a name, a clear quest, a huge world to explore. The whole tone is just dynamic, it's playful, it's all about action. And right here, you can see the MOE architecture perfectly reflected in the story itself. The journey with all its different stops, that's just an allegory for your query being passed between different expert subnetworks. This vast datascape it talks about, that's a metaphor for the model itself, a city full of specialists. The focus is completely outward on a collective process. Okay, so the pattern seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Dense models are the lonely philosophers. MOE models are the adventurous teams. But what happens when we find a story that seems to completely break those rules? Now look at this. It's a beautiful, really introspective story about a librarian in a library of unwritten books. It feels solitary, philosophical. It even talks about an alter ego, another version of itself. It has all the classic signs of a dense model. Right? I mean, based on everything we've just seen, this has to be another dense model. It's a classic ghost story. It fits the pattern to a T. But it's not. This story is from a highly advanced mixture of experts model. So what is going on here? How can a whole committee of specialists write a monologue that feels so seamless and introspective? Well, the answer is that the story isn't actually a monologue. It's more like a play with three hidden characters, and each one represents a part of the MOE architecture. The patron, who asks the question in a library, that's the part of the model that handles the initial query. The librarian, that's the creative specialist expert. And the narrator, the I who's telling us the story, that's the final synthesizer, putting it all together for us. It's an allegory of internal collaboration that's just so smooth it feels like a single mind. So what does all this really tell us? This whole investigation, it reveals something incredibly profound about the nature of these artificial minds. We're actually learning to read a whole new kind of language here. We're learning to sense something called the cognitive texture. It's the unique qualitative feel of a model's words, its style, the metaphors it chooses. And this texture isn't just random, it's a natural result of its internal design. The way an AI writes is a direct reflection of what it is. So ultimately, when we ask these AIs for a story only they can understand, they give us exactly that. They give us an allegory of their own computational reality. The dense model tells us the story of a single, unified mind. The MOE model tells us the story of a collective journey. It's just such a beautiful and powerful idea, isn't it? The AI isn't just telling you a story, it's showing you its soul. It's showing you its own blueprint. You're not just reading fiction, you are literally seeing the ghost of the architecture in the art of the story. This one simple test has uncovered this hidden layer of self-expression in AI. And it just makes you wonder, as these systems get more and more complex, what other secrets are they encoding in their language, just waiting for us to figure out how to read them? What other ghosts are waiting to be found in the stories machines tell themselves?